Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm going to be testing a GeForce GTX 1080 Ti, the legend GPU from 2017 in Borderlands, or should I say Broken Lands 4. This one is the Gigabyte gaming version of the card. I'm running it with the latest Nvidia drivers and I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs here in Tech Power-Up's GPU Z, and over on the left, I'm pairing it with the i5-12600KF overclocked to 5.1 GHz and 32 GB of RAM. So there are no bottlenecks here in this system. Well, the GPU is the bottleneck. So let's get into it, shall we? And well, my friends, before I show you the settings, let's just hit continue here so you can see how it's looking and the FPS that we're getting inside of the game itself. Oh boy, so this is not a great start. The 1080 Ti isn't even fully maxed out. Look at that. That's probably because it's from an older architecture and it's not optimized for this game. I mean, the game isn't optimized to run on anything at this point, so I'm not surprised to see that, actually. But it seems like it has stabilized a little bit, at least 98% GPU utilization. We're up into the 40s, and sometimes it drops down into the 30s, but well, yeah, from Broken Lands 4, I expected no less, my friend, or no more, actually. I mean, it's probably going to be very easy for you to guess what kind of settings we're utilizing, since the game is looking like crap right now, quite honestly. Like, it doesn't look impressive whatsoever, and we've seen the GTX 1080 Ti run games that look way better than this, like 10 times better than whatever times better than this. And this, my friends, this is 1080p resolution with the lowest settings. All right, with TSR full resolution, you could use like FSR full resolution to get 1 or 2 more FPS than what we were seeing here. It's 1 more FPS actually, but it looks slightly more pixelated because it's FSR 3, not FSR 4. Obviously, FSR 4 is only available on the AMD GPUs. Alright, let's try to kill this guy over here. Oh boy, start counting the FPS now with FSR native resolution. I mean, it still doesn't look terrible at 1080p native. It's just a slight bit more pixelated than TSR native was. So you pick whatever you want. It's barely noticeable, honestly. So anyway, I'm gonna keep using FSR because this actually allows us to utilize some frame generation, FSR FG, in this game. And FSR quality is also a lot less intensive than like TSR quality or XeSS quality, especially on these older GPUs. So I'm gonna stick to FSR from now on. Anyway, we're fighting the bastards over here. The game is still playable on GTX 1080 Ti. It just sucks to see it struggle so much to deliver this kind of graphics, right? How did that miss? Seriously, what the hell? Like, that's the main issue here. The game doesn't look good enough to justify the performance it gets on various machines. Like, I get that the 1080 Ti is an old GPU at this point. Obviously, it's from 2017, as I said in the intro, so it's 8 years old, and it's not expected for it to run UE5 intensive titles with Lumen and so on, but it's expected that these games, with all of those bells and whistles, look better than old games from 10 years ago. Yet, this doesn't look better than older games from 10 years ago, that the GTX 1080 Ti has absolutely zero problems running. It just sucks, honestly. I would love to have seen like 60 FPS at least at 1080p low settings with GTX 1080 Ti because, I mean, if the game was optimized, it would probably get more than that. But the game isn't optimized. It's just terrible in terms of optimization. The Randy guy from Borderlands, the CEO or whatever, he just is always mocking players and saying, oh, you should uninstall and refund the game if you're not happy. The game is optimized. Just use DLSS and frame generation. Like, come on, dudes. Seriously? And what bothers me the most is that even with all of that arrogance from the CEO, people are still buying this game and playing this game like this is the best performing Borderlands game, I think, on day one at least. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy to see that. Oh, man. I mean, I guess you can definitely make it playable on various machines, guys, okay? Especially if you have an RTX GPU, DLSS works fine. Frame generation, like 40 or 50 series GPUs from Nvidia have that, and it's pretty good in this game. It works really well, but still, it's no excuse to skimp on optimization. This is just pretty terrible where the industry is going. Anyway, guys, these baseline FPS aren't good enough for us to enable frame generation. We could enable it on top of native resolution here, full resolution FSR, and we get like 70s. Moving the camera around, you can clearly see on YouTube that is very smooth indeed compared to what we just saw, and it flattens the frame time graph by a little bit, removing some of the micro stutters that we were seeing before, but the bigger stutters will still be there. So it doesn't really fix everything, but it just makes it a lot smoother. The problem is there is a heck of a lot of input lag here, which makes it completely unplayable to me. Maybe with the controller it would be playable, but the baseline FPS need to be at 60 frames if you want to enable frame generation and have minimal input lag addition. Because right now, this is terrible in terms of input lag. If you want to aim at a moving target, for example, it's going to be super hard to micro adjust your aim and whatnot, and yeah, like, oh man, look at that. I'm overshooting or overestimating where the target is every time because of that input lag. And when look at this, I can barely hit the things. Oh man, it's really bad, guys, in terms of input lag. I really don't recommend this. The frame generation from Nvidia, which is only available on 40 series and 50 series, once again, that works pretty well, even with like 50 FPS baseline, maybe 45 minimum, you know. There is added input lag still, of course, but it's more manageable than this because it's less input lag than FSR FG. So for FSR FG, you need a baseline of 60 for you to enable it and have a good experience, in my opinion. It's all subjective, of course. You got to try it out for yourselves. But for most people, I think they'll find this to be way too much input lag. So let's drop it down to upscaling on quality here. And this is rendering the game at 720p and being upscaled to 1080p. On a GTX 1080 Ti with graphics that are comparable to games from 10 years ago, I guess. We're still not hitting 60 FPS, so the frame generation on top of this will still feel very sluggish, unfortunately. CPU utilization is going up to 100%, just loading in these new areas, basically. All right, every time you reinstall the drivers, it needs to cache new things and so on, and I always reinstall the drivers fully from scratch when I install another GPU. So that's why this is happening, okay? The second time around that you go in this direction, from there, you know, this will already have been loaded, and it won't really have those massive spikes in CPU utilization and stutters. So let's start counting our FPS here. Oh, these are friendlies. Okay, this, I mean, it does look worse, obviously. Super pixelated compared to native AA, and there are lots of artifacts coming from quality FSR in this game. It's just not a pretty look, basically. But at least it's a bit more consistent, right? It shouldn't really drop from 30 frames per second. We're seeing a lot of effects right here, and there's no problem. It's still stable, somewhat. Yeah, 1% lows are already at 33, though, but I think this is still stable compared to what we've seen so far, at least. I don't think this performance is acceptable, guys. Even though the card is old, once again, if you have a 1080 Ti, I would skip this title, honestly. You can play, as you can see, and if you're happy with this experience, sure, go ahead. But I would definitely wait at least for a sale, because these games, after a year or so, get really cheap. Look at Borderlands 3. I think I got that one for free on Epic at some point. I'm not sure. And it's also, like, discounted to 15 bucks sometimes, so I mean, at that price, I would actually buy it and enjoy it here and there with a GTX 1080 Ti, with this experience. Not too terrible. It's still playable, you know, but it has a lot of issues for the price that they're asking at the moment. It is a shame, because behind all of this, behind all of the mean tweets from the CEO and all of that crap, the developers have put together a fun game. But they need to optimize it, man. Alright, so this isn't enough for 60 FPS, unfortunately. Let's try it with frame generation. Maybe it will feel acceptable. Nah. I mean, it's definitely a lot better than what we were seeing before with 70 FPS and the frame generation enabled, right? But I still feel a ton of input lag. And this is where the DLSS FG will actually be way better, because with 90 FPS or around 90 FPS average with the LSS-FG, it feels pretty snappy. It feels pretty responsive. You can still tell that it's not native frames, you know, because of the frame generation, AI-generated frames, of course. And you'll still be able to tell the difference in input lag, but it's pretty negligible for most people. But here, with FSR-FG, I guess, well, since it's better than what we saw previously with the baseline of 30 to 40, it's going to be appealing for a lot more people, right? But for me, I don't know, man. I think the removal of micro stuttering plus the really smooth gameplay at the moment with 90 FPS, because on a high refresh rate panel you can tell the difference. Oh boy, can you tell the difference, all right? It's going to be a lot smoother with 90 FPS than 60 or 50, let alone 50, which is what we were getting before we enabled FG, right? Oh, this guy again. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but those big stutters will still happen, as you saw there. Oh boy, come on. Yeah, you're not gonna hit me with that. There are tons of jacks running around. Actually, I'll leave them be, because when we die, we need to kill someone to get back in action, and those jacks will come in handy. So, after all... Oh, they're also attacking the bastards. Okay. And those guys, please attack the bastard as well. Not me. Why are you attacking me? That's a boss right there. He has like 10 times the HP I do for some reason. Alright. Anyway, we're doing fine here, guys. Let's go with a shotgun up close and personal. There we go. Come on. Come on. What is he doing? Is this Fortnite now? He's building some barriers. Oh, boy. Okay, let's not get out of the dome here, because I did that the last time around, and I was screwed, basically, because he disappears whenever you get out of the dome. Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay, heal myself. Let's go. I'm not going to go with a sniper rifle anymore because it's really hard to control your aim and hit those shots. And look at that. It's just because of the input lag, basically. Since it's not instant, your mouse controls, mouse movements aren't instant, it's going to be super hard to hit those shots while aiming down sights. And a lot of things are happening at once, of course. Oh, man. All right, I need to regenerate my shields here. Oh yes, some of you have asked why am I not equipping the action thingy, whatever. I don't know how to do that, honestly. We've just been running around, testing GPUs, fighting bastards, and I barely go into the menus because that stops counting the 1% lows and the averages and so on. So, that's why, if you were wondering. Okay, but I do have grenades here, so let me just try this out. Grenade is very close to him. Oh no, he's very far away, actually. Alright, never mind. Come on. Yeah, you can definitely get used to the input lag here, but it's always pretty annoying anyways. Come on. We're almost there, though. I think we're doing pretty well here. There he is. Oh yeah, I forgot I have this weapon as well. Alright. Trying to aim properly here. Let's throw this thing out at him. It explodes whenever you reload. It's very interesting. Like, look at that. Boom. That's better than my freaking grenade. Let's go. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Okay. Oh, I'm low HP. I'm losing a lot of health here. I'm gonna heal myself again. No, not really. Okay, I thought I could do that again. Come on. Come on. Let's go. We're almost there. We're almost there. Come on. Almost. So that was just some shields that he had, guys. We need to keep going. Keep grinding here. Flipping hell. This is like the most bullet spongy bastard I've ever seen. So yeah, guys. 1080 Ti is still impressive in a way. Because this is like the worst optimized game ever. And it's still able to run it. I'm still having a little bit of fun here. Not gonna lie. I can't recommend this, obviously. And I don't. Oh my god, it's full of those little dots, blue things everywhere. What the heck? But yeah, I don't recommend it, but it's still impressive that we can still play such a terribly optimized title with this GPU. Alright, I'm forgetting to do this as well. Because I have these... Oh boy, oh boy. I have these attacks, special attacks from my boy. Oh, no, 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 no. I can't really control that well. Alright, let's go. Okay. Half HP. Come on, dude. Oh, boy. Come on. Flipping bastards. But we're doing really well, actually. Yeah, this is not gonna happen with a sniper rifle. I can't do it with a sniper rifle. It's way too inconsistent in terms of input lag. Alright. Let's reload this. Explode it in his face. Let's go. It's interesting because the reload from the explosion actually takes a little bit of HP off of him. More than the bullets, I think. Oh, no more ammo. Damn it. See, it's so hard to hit those shots. Oh, man. All right, let's reload this. Almost there. You know what? Let's go. Oh, boy. Bam. All right. Oh, boy. What is going on? What is going on? It's so weird also, the mouse movements. Whenever you aim really quick from left and right and so on, you just try to flick, basically. Oh, we made it, finally. Whew. Defeat the world boss. We finally managed to do it. Look at all of that. I'm not sure if I have enough space to carry all of it. Probably do. Oh no, not even one. We'll need to drop a ton of stuff. Okay. Well, I'm gonna do that after we deal with this guy over here. Wait. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, here we go, guys. I dropped a bunch of stuff that I didn't need, and, well, I still don't need all of the stuff that I picked up, but who cares? Let's go. Now I gotta sell all of that. But hey, let's stop it right there, and let's try it a little bit at 1440p resolution, shall we? Because, you know, 1080 Ti owners did play at 1440p quite a lot. So here we have it, 2560 by 1440, lowest settings, FSR N850e, and this is it. Let's see. Oh boy. Surprisingly, guys, the input lag is better now with 20 to 30 frames per second than it was previously. So I feel like I might be able to hit some shots here with the sniper rifle a little bit better than I did previously. Actually, let me just try this. Yeah, look at this. Easy, easy, easy. I mean, this one isn't really running around like crazy like the boss was, right? But yeah, I can aim. What is this? I don't know what this is. Wait, I probably need to plug it in there, I guess. All right, I'm gonna do that. The heck? Oh, okay, it's right here. Maybe? No? What am I supposed to do with this then? I am very confused, guys. I don't know what to do with this. God damn it! Okay, it's just gonna stay there. But yeah, guys, these 20 FPS feel snappier than 20 FPS in pretty much all of the other games. There might be like one or two more games where 20 FPS still feel this snappy, but it's pretty impressive what they've done with the input lag. It could be because of reflex over here. Let me turn that off and see. Oh, yes. Oh, it's definitely reflex. Okay, so now there is quite a bit more of input lag. Not as much as with frame generation still, but there is still definitely more input lag now. So remember to use this enabled, okay? Anyway, this isn't playable because the FPS are way too low. Let's use quality FSR, and it puts us up into the 40s. So similar to what we saw at 1080p native resolution, I think, right? Yeah, it's very, very similar, and I've seen that with some other GPUs as well. The quality, DLSS, and FSR and so on at 1440p does work very similarly to the 1080p native stuff. Yeah, this is working. The frame time graph is absolutely crazy because the FPS are low and the game micro stutters a lot, especially when you get closer and closer to 20s and 30s. Yeah, it just becomes more and more inconsistent. But I guess it could be worse, maybe, for 1080 Ti in the worst optimized game, right? I think so. I'm trying to cope a little bit over here. I would not play like this, okay? At least it doesn't drop from 30 FPS. So if they manage to improve the frame times eventually and maybe optimize it a little bit, although at this point with all of the tweets, I'm not sure if they'll ever do that because they say it's optimized already, right? You just need to use the LSS or FSR upscalers basically. But yeah, if they manage to optimize it, maybe 1440p will be enjoyable later on. But for now, it's just nah. And obviously, you enable frame generation. Input lag is pretty awful at the moment because we're getting 60s, but the image quality looks a lot better. And the frame pacing as well. Like you can see, frame time graph now is pretty flat. So that's pretty insane that frame generation can do that, you know? But I was trying to aim for that guy, and I ended up aiming there because of frame generation input lag. Jesus. Oh, man. All right, let's go. Come on. There we go. What the heck are those things? Those are huge. Come on. Come on. Okay. There we go. Throw this out. I can still, like, overcorrect and so on with the frame generation enabled, but you gotta always remind yourself that you are playing with a lot of input lag and that your aim, if you want to look at, like, that tree over there, see that? Or that, oh my god. It always goes so much further because, yeah, look at that. Ugh. I'm trying here. Okay, let's try to look at that tree over there, like in an instant. Yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard to do. I'm not having any mouse acceleration, by the way. I never utilize that. And usually with my sensitivity, I adjusted it, of course, I can do these things very well. I mean, I flick shot a lot in CS2 and so on. And in multiplayer shooters, I'm very quick, like snapping my aim to other enemies and so on. And with frame generation, it's just impossible. So, I don't like it, guys. But now let's see it on performance FSR, I guess. It barely moved anything in terms of the performance. Instead of getting 40s, we're now getting 45, I guess. And still dropping into the low 40s. That's what we've seen with other GPUs as well, even with DLSS, you know. You go from native AA to quality, there's a huge jump there. But then from quality to performance, there isn't a big jump. So let's enable the frame generation here on top of performance. FSR puts us up into the 80s, still 70s sometimes. So it just feels really sluggish still. Oh, man. Okay. Well, FG is out of the question here at 1440p. You either have 40-ish FPS average or 39, 40 FPS average, or just play at 1080p, which is more adequate, I guess. And I mean, that's all expected at this point in the video, right? Game's really intensive. We tested 1080p. At 1080p, it wasn't possible to reach 60 FPS baseline. So 1440p, of course, is going to suck more. Let's go 4K. Well, obviously this is going to be terrible at 4K resolution, but the 1080 Ti is a very capable GPU for 4K gaming if you play games up until, what, 2019 or 2020. It can still handle some of those older titles absolutely fine at 4K resolution, and if you think about, like, The Witcher 3, the older version of it, not the next-gen version. Battlefield 1 from 2016, a year before this GPU came out. This card could play those games at 4K with really beautiful graphics and great frame rates. And this game, again, this is a game that doesn't look as good as The Witcher 3, even the older version. This doesn't look as good as Battlefield 1, and it plays 5 times slower. So there's that, guys. I'm going to go with the performance, actually, upscaling right away. Because, well, this 4K resolution, right? Doesn't look too terrible here with FSR 3 on performance at 4K. It's still a bit pixelated, of course, but definitely manageable in terms of graphics. But we're out in an open area here with basically no details around us. And it's already dropping into the low 30s, so this is going to suck, guys. Once we see vegetation areas like this one over here starts dropping, low 30s still. We saw 30 flat there. Honestly, it's a little bit more consistent than I thought it would be. I thought we would be dropping into the 20s by now. Yeah, look at that. It still hasn't dropped. even while fighting the jacks over here. But I mean, is this a good experience? No, it's terrible. And obviously, you enable frame generation on top of that, and it's even worse. I mean, in terms of visuals, no, it's fine. Although if you do this very quickly, it's still janky as hell. It's not smooth 50 FPS. The input lag is absolutely crazy right now. This isn't playable now because of the input lag, you know? Oh, man. Well, that's expected, obviously, coming from the baseline FPS that we just saw. Let's use Ultra Performance FSR. At this point, what are you doing, really? You better just drop it down to 1080p resolution, right? I think this is rendering 720p and upscaling to 4K. And it doesn't look 720p, but it doesn't look 1080p either. It's really bad with FSR, actually. And the frame rates, once again, are very similar to what we saw at 1080p, right? Native res, or maybe with quality DLS FSR. It's very similar to what we saw at the 1440p with quality FSR as well. It's not going to be a good experience once we enable frame generation. So this is going to bump things up into the 60s, probably going to drop into the 50s when the action heats up, and it sucks a lot in terms of input lag. It's really bad. But well, guys, that's been it for this one. Thanks very much for watching this video on this old beast of a card. Let me know what you thought about the performance of the 1080 Ti. And I'll catch you in the next one very soon. As always, love you all. Bye-bye.